Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, New York GA True Crime Files. This is a New York True Crime File giving you an update on the Yasmin Williams case. This is a suspect right here. We're looking at Chad Irish. He's a career criminal with a rap sheet as long as a New York City block. And to me, he should have probably been in jail months of Sundays ago. But we do have an update. So I'm just going to play this. And anytime you see this, you'll know that this is a New York crime file. So this is the update. Okay, there's a few. This story is developing, and as this information comes out, I will be sure to bring it to you. So this is a beautiful Yasmin Williams who was found unalived on a sidewalk in a trash bag on Friday, right? So there's some things that are coming out now, and the grandmother is coming out and speaking to the press. And basically the grandmother, whose name is Essie Graham, basically said that Yasmin lived with Mr. that person there. So let's talk about it. It says Essie Graham, who's the grandmother of the slain woman, who was left outside that Manhattan apartment building in a garbage bag, she said that they were living together. Okay. Now I thought something yesterday when they were trying to get him into the ambulance and they were calling him a crackhead, and I heard some, kerfuffle about, them being friends. And, sometimes there's friends and then there's friends. You know what I mean? So this is what Essie Graham said. She said, I could feel it. I kept saying she needs to get out of that house. She said about her granddaughter, Yasmin Williams. She said, I wanted someone to go over there and make a lot of noise, but nobody really took it seriously. So she's basically saying, I wanted somebody to go over there, and be a bowdy and be like, look, you know what I mean? Strong hold, strong arm, and, get her up out of there. Williams' mother was also concerned about her daughter's living situation, but didn't know how to get Williams out. And they were not pleased with what was going on. Okay. And sometimes when people are grown, you don't know what to do. But I will tell you the other part. My daughter said, Ma. So Essie Graham's daughter said to her, Ma, I agree with you, but how we gonna do that? So it's this type of situation where this person is grown. How you gonna get this person? There was a stronghold, and I do think they're talking about there was possibly some sort of spat as it relates to drugs, y'all. So I think this family is aware of that. Okay, but look how beautiful. But regardless of the situation, she should not have lost her life. So this is Yasmin and her mother, Nicole Williams, at her graduation in 2016. To her family's relief, about a week before her body was found, Yasmin said, I'm coming back home, Grandma. I'm coming back to live with you. She told me, Mama, I'm coming home. And she said everything seemed fine. If I knew what was to come, she said, I would have made her come home. So this is the scene yesterday in front of the Mr. Irish's building, where they was trying to get him in the van, in the ambulance, and folks just bum rushed the situation, and they was trying to get at him. Cops charged Irish, his name is Chad Irish, with concealment of a human corpse after he was identified as the man in a motorized wheelchair allegedly caught on the video leaving the body next to some trash bags on East 27th Street and 3rd Avenue. So you know how you in a neighborhood and it might be one or two people in a wheelchair. So all the cops had to do was like, who's around here in a wheelchair? And it was like, they knew who it was because she was living with this guy. Okay. Chad Irish is described as a 55-year-old ex-con who was attacked by a mob of people outside the building. The video, I'll link that in the description box. They was trying to get at him, and it wasn't going to be nothing nice if they got to him. Okay, it was going to be some swift justice. Okay, now the grandmother said that Yasmin, right here in the picture, so beautiful, said that Chad was her homeboy. So, but why was she living with her homeboy? But she's grown. People can do what they want to do, right? But her mother and her grandmother knew it wasn't a good situation. And I don't know if they were scared of Chad I don't know what the situation was. It says, in the months leading up to Williams' unaliving, Essie Graham, who is Yasmin's grandmother, began to worry about her granddaughter and wondered if she was quietly in a relationship with this older guy. So he's 55 and she's 31. So Essie Graham goes on to say, she always said that was her friend, but we know that there's friends that, acquaintances, and then there's friends with benefits. If she was living with him, so she moved out of her grandmother's house, who lived right in the neighborhood, and moved into his apartment. She said, but I think she knew and said that's my friend, that's my homeboy, because she knew I wouldn't approve. No, you would not approve of your 31-year-old daughter, right? College graduate with a 55-year-old ex-con. Okay, that ain't doing nothing. He ain't working nowhere. Essie Graham, her grandmother, she wasn't able to shake this guy. She kept getting these bad feelings. She kept getting, that unction, that gumption from the Holy Spirit that tells you something is wrong. She begun sending her grandson. So Yasmin has a twin brother. So rather than, she kept getting this feeling, so she was like, look, I'm gonna send my grandson over there and check on her a couple of times a week, and that way I'm gonna make sure. They knew she was in danger, y'all. They knew she was in danger, or whatever was going on. They knew in that apartment this dude was up to no good, and they were calling him a crackhead. So that's what it was, y'all. I'm telling you, they knew that this man was up to no good. Why would she be hanging around or in an apartment or living with a crackhead? Graham, unable to shake the feeling, sent her grandson there. Now that I look back, she said, I think God was letting me know she needed to get out of that house, said Graham. She said, if I ever get that feeling again about my grandkids or anyone else, I listen. And that's that unction, that's that Holy Spirit. That is that when God tells you something, you start moving. So this is him right there. Yesterday they was punching him or doing all type of stuff in front of the building. I'm telling you, they sent out a message, get to him, because if you don't get to him, we gonna get to him. I'm telling you. But I'm surprised, y'all, why didn't they arrest him? Okay, they found the videotape, the video footage of him, disposing of the body on the sidewalk, but why did it take till Tuesday? Why did it take so long? I don't know. Anyway, they took him in yesterday. Williams's body, they said, was so badly decomposed, y'all, that they could not identify the gender. And usually you can, but it was that bad. So I'm thinking this may have taken place before the Friday the 5th. It looks like a week. Maybe it could have been a week ago. When was the last time the grandmother and the mother spoke to her daughter? So being that it was so badly decomposed, the weather didn't help, being it's so hot, but they're going to be in his apartment checking. Her body was found after neighbors complained of the smell. Williams's cause of death was deemed to be a GSW, also known as a gunshot wound to the head, which the medical examiner told her family was at close range. Okay, nobody has been charged with her. A high-ranking police source said Tuesday one possible theory for the motive involved drugs that either Williams or Irish possessed, and that he is believed to be responsible for her unaliving. And I think they know that. So it says, I think she told him she was leaving, so he thought, if I can't have you, nobody can. That could have been the situation too, because the grandmother said she was leaving. And some of these people, they get like that. They think they're their property, but she don't want him. So this is the scene, the chaotic scene right here. This is a picture of the chaotic scene. That looked like my cousin. The chaotic scene coming out of the building there on East 28th Street and the Strauss houses there. It says Williams lived with her grandmother and apartment as a child. After graduating from Buffalo State College with a degree in criminal justice in 2016, she moved in full-time with Miss Graham. And so I don't know how a lot of you guys grew up, but where I grew up in New York, in the PJs, I stayed with my grandmother. We lived in Howard. I had another grandmother that lived in Brownsville houses. I had an aunt that lived in Cephalo. I had some cousins that live in Marcus Garvey houses. So we would just go back and forth. So that's how she did. She, grew up all around there in that neighborhood. Video obtained by the news shows cops and medics carrying Irish out of the Kips Bay building on Monday, which was yesterday, into police custody. So it says Williams was looking forward to starting a new job, according to Graham. So she actually was supposed to start a job this week with the Housing Preservation and Development. If you're from New York, we call it a city job. And she had a long life ahead of her. So let me go to the other article, which now this is another exclusive from some high ranking, and this is this person here. They was trying to get at him. I'm telling you, if they had, the popo was in there about 10-15 deep, then they had multiple paramedics. They knew that if they didn't get to him, the word had already went out. You know, any of those people, that informants, they already said, you know what, y'all better come and get him, because they about to say, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you what Mayor Adams had to say too. It says NYPD detectives are detecting, as far as the angle for this, a drug dispute as the motive. But it could have been both the drug dispute and the fact that she said she was leaving because she was supposed to be starting a job. Okay. They charged him with concealment of a corpse, and they also charged him with he had a handgun. So y'all, he had a handgun, and this is the picture here of people in front of the building while they was taking him out yesterday, that chaotic scene. They found a handgun. He's an ex-con. He shouldn't have a gun, so they're charging with that. But they're waiting for ballistics. That handgun, they're waiting for ballistics to come back. And I'm sure they got CSI up in that apartment, you know, with luminol and checking to see if stuff was cleaned up, whatever the case may be. He was also charged with weapons possession and menacing for allegedly flashing a firearm at someone hours before the cops took him in. Irish, who's 55, so he's 55, she's 31, both grown, but this is not a person that you would want your daughter, your granddaughter, nobody with. Okay. He's the main suspect though, and they're thinking it's a dispute over drugs. A high-ranking police source said she of course expired from a GSW to the head, and yeah, she's beautiful young lady. You know, it says here, when they started trying to bring him out, a crowd started gathering and they were going to get him. That's all I'm going to say. So they were able to get video footage and showing him, you know. It says she grew up up here. My mom has lived here for 30 years. And if you know, a lot of people have lived, you know, 20-30 years in the bricks. So, you know, everybody knew her, and people felt what happened yesterday. And if you are a New Yorker, you know, maybe you're a transplant or you live someplace else like I do, we feel this. So let me tell you what Mayor Adams said, and he knew what time it was. He said he should be lucky, meaning Mr. what's his name, the suspect, that he should be lucky that the police got him before that community did. Mayor Adams already knew. He said this out his mouth. He said he should be lucky that the police got him before that community did. He said in a press conference, he said the criminal justice system should bring justice and closure to the family. When your family goes through something as horrific as this, it really impacts us. It does. It's a us. So even if you ain't in New York, it's a us. We feel this. You know what I mean? Adams and Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer confirmed that Williams was about to start the job with the city's Department of Housing Preservation and Development, HPD. If you're from New York, we call it a city job. And it hits home. So it's hitting home for New Yorkers, people who work for the city, people around her block, around her way, in her building, her mother especially, and her grandmother and her family. But it's hitting hard for New Yorkers. It's like, what? You just, really? You know what I mean? And you know people, you know, I'm just saying, just being realistic, guys. I've known people who've hung out with people who were crackheads and stuff, but you didn't expect them to lose their life. Now, there's just no respect for human life at all. In addition to concealing a human's corpse, cops are charging Irish with gun possession and menacing. I said that. So this is her, you know, at her graduation from Buffalo State University in 2016. Okay, neighbors complained of a smell and they called 911, right? And so he just dumps her on these people. I'm telling you, child. So he was seen on surveillance video, mind you. In NYCHA they got cameras, outside the stores they got cameras, so it didn't take no time for them to get you know. Before moving in with Irish, okay, Williams stayed with her grandmother, who lives 3.5 blocks from where Yasmin's body was discovered. Williams recently had told her grandmother that she was moving back in with her through an exclusive interview with the New York Daily News. Taken into custody with Irish was his dog, Butter, which was set to be transferred from NYPD's 13th precinct to the ASPCA. So Butter probably witnessed this situation, but they're in that apartment right now. Irish's arraignment was pending in Manhattan Criminal Court Tuesday. So the chaotic scene yesterday, and this is the beautiful Yasmin Williams. So, you know, my thing is they're thinking it has something to do with drugs, and the fact that they knew he was bad news. Like, they were during this time, they was, and this guy, I could look at his face, he smirking and looking like a hot mess, because now he knows he's getting ready to get into that ambulance. But if they had not come and get him, had not come and gotten him when they did, it was gonna be New York justice. People was gonna walk away and never say nothing. That's just what it would have been. I don't condone violence, but they knew. That's why there was. You ever seen anybody come get somebody out of the and put them in the ambulance with that many people? No, because they already knew. So y'all, this story is unfolding. We're just waiting for ballistics. They're gonna go into the apartment and do their CSI, and you know, and see if they can, you know, look at any other video footage, any phones, and see what was going on with her and him, if it was domestic related in addition to an argument over drugs. Who knows, but they're going to be able to find that out. So again, my condolences to the family of Yasmin Williams, Miss Essie Graham, and you know, her mom and her cousins and everybody, you know, around there at the Strauss houses. This is a traumatic loss. And it's just disgusting. They need to put this man, Chad, up underneath the jail, up underneath the jail, up underneath the jail. Okay? So this is a New York GA true crime file. This is a New York version today that we're talking about. And yeah, this is the suspect right here. Right here, Chad Irish. That is the suspect. And, you know, they have to arraign him and get him, I guess, arraigned and whatever else they need to do. So y'all, I will see you on the next upload. If there are any other updates on this story, I will bring them to you. But this story is an active story and it's unraveling. And I think by the end of the week, I don't know how long ballistics take, but I'm sure they'll be in that apartment. And they'll be able to tell where I believe she passed away in that apartment, and she was in there for some time. It probably started smelling and he took her body out and just dumped it on the trash. So, you know, she probably was deceased probably before Friday, because when they found her on Friday, her body was already decomposed so bad. So we're talking, you know, maybe the beginning of this month. So guys, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, and any new updates on this case, I will be reporting on it. All right, I will see you guys on the next upload. Peace, and I'm out.